All right. In this section, we're going to learn how to find equations of lines given all sorts of information. We're also going to look at how, if we had two lines, how are they related? All right, so the first one we're going to look at is this equation. Remember what M stood for?
Is that slope?
Very good. That's the slope. And what does B stand for?
Y-intercept?
Excellent. So now let's guess what this formula is called. It's called the slope intercept formula or form. Mathematicians are not too ingenious when it comes to naming things. So what we're going to do here, we're going to find equations of lines. This will be the first one. So to find an equation of the line. So instead of writing equation of line, I'm simply going to write EOL from now on. To find an equation of a line, if you're given one point and the slope. So the first point we're going to look at is, in this one, the point will be the y-intercept. Remember, last week we talked about how do we find the y-intercept? What's the procedure for finding the y-intercept? Set x equal to 0, solve for y. So the point we're going to look at this time is 0 and some number here. Let's call it a. Whenever the x is 0, whatever this is, that's your y-intercept. All right, so let's find the equation of line. Here's the first example. Given a slope of -7/9 and the y-intercept 0, 16, find the equation of the line. Now, instead of writing here in this, where I said over here a, we call it 0a. Let's call it 0b, because that's exactly the y-intercept. So look what we're given. We're given the slope and we're given a point. Because we're given the slope and a point, we're going to use the slope intercept. This is the slope and this is the y-intercept. So we use the slope intercept. So the slope is equal to -7/9 and the point is 0, 16. Because x is 0, that means our y-intercept is 16. So to find the equation of the line, plug and play. M is -7/9 x and b is 16. And there you have it. That's the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So that's if you're given a point and a slope, and the point they're given is a y-intercept. And the next one, what if you're given any point? Any point, x, y. That's what example 2 is going to be. Given a slope equals negative 2/3 and going through the point negative 3, 6. Find the equation of the line. Okay, since the question's asking for equation of the line, that's what we start off with. We start off with the equation of the line that we're dealing with. And the reason we're using this formula, because we're given a slope and a point. I'm going to show you in a little bit that there are other equations we can use. All right. So we know our slope is negative 2/3 and our point is negative 3, 6. Now, how does this fit into this? Well, we know our slope, m, is negative 2/3. This is a point. A point has an x and y component. So the x value is negative 3, and the y value is 6. So we plug those inside here. The x value is negative 3, and the y value is 6. The only thing we don't have the y-intercept. We have to find that. All right, so let's simplify this equation. The 3's cancel here first. Negative times a negative becomes a positive, so those cancel. So we simply have 2 plus b. We have to get b by itself, so we subtract 2. So b, 6 minus 2 is 4. So we have the slope, we have b, we put it back in here. We have to plug them into these places. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. And there's your equation. Right, so that's how you find equations of line if you're given a point and a slope. But that's only one of the 3 types of equations of lines that we have. Let me show you where they come from. All equations of lines come from the slope equation. Let's remind what the slope equation was. It was y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1 equals the slope. So that's the slope equation. let's start deriving all of the equations. And note, all of our equations, you have to have an x and a y. Because that has to be in any equation, because those are the variables that we have to use. So what that means is x1 or x1, y1 will be a point that's given. So we have a fraction. Here's the general rule. Whenever you have a fraction and an equal sign, get rid of the fraction. How do we get rid of the fraction? If we multiply both sides of the equation by the denominator. So here's our denominator. We're going to get rid of that. So we multiply both sides by the denominator. The LCD, least common denominator. Because we want to get rid of the fraction. So this and that cancel, leaving us with y2 minus y1 equals m x2 minus x1. Remember, I said that x1, y1 is a point. And then you have to have an x and a y in the equation. So instead of having x2 and y2, we'll just call those x and y. So there's our next formula. In this formula, x1, y1 is a point. M is the slope. So this formula is called the point slope formula. Okay, we also always start from the slope. Okay, so far so good. All right, let's go to the next one. This is the first formula. Now let's pretend our point. Let's define a point. x1, y1 is the point 23, and the slope is 4. This will make it easier to see the next formula. So we plug these in there. So y1 is 3. That's this value. M is 4. X1 is 2. So we plug all that stuff in there and solve for y. So let's get rid of the parentheses first. So we distribute. 4 times x is 4x. Positive times negative is negative. 4 times 2 is 8. We have to get rid of the 3 because we're solving for y. We have to get rid of the negative 3. So it's a process of opposites. So we add 3 to both sides. The 3's cancel. And we have 4x. Negative 8 plus 3. 8's bigger, so the answer is negative. 8 minus 3 is 5. And remember what this formula looks like? This is the second formula. This is the slope intercept. Remember, our slope was 4, that's what it is. And this is our y-intercept. Now, to get to our third point, what we have to do now is move all x and y to one side. So we'll take this one. We have y equals 4x minus 5. Let's move all the x's and y to one side. So we subtract 4x from both sides. We get negative 4x plus y equals negative 5. The only stipulation, what this one looks like here, this is called the standard form. The standard form. It looks like this. AX plus BY equals C. That's the standard form. This is the third equation. But it has a stipulation. The leading coefficient in front of the x, it has to always be positive. Since it's negative here, we have to change all the signs. So our answer in standard form would be 4x minus y equals positive 5. And there's that equation. And these are all the same equations. It's just written differently. So remember back up here. No, actually we did that. We plugged it in that one. So those are our 3 formulas. All stem from the slope formula. All right, so let's look at another, let's find another equation. These are the steps. I'm continuing. Step 2. If given 2 points, let's look at this one. Example 3. Find the equation of the line going through the points 2, 3 and 1, negative 4. All right, so now things change a little bit because remember, in order to find an equation of a line, we have to have a slope and a point, slope and intercept. So our first step here, since we're given 2 points, first step is find the slope. Remember, the slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So this is our first point. This is our second point. So this is x1, that's y1. This is x2, that's y2. So let's plug them in there. y2. y2 is negative 4 minus y1 is 3. x2 is 1 minus x1 is 2. Negative and negative, they're both negatives. So the answer is negative. Add the numbers. 4 plus 3 is 7. 1 minus 2, opposite signs. Take the sign of the larger, it's negative. 2 minus 1 is 1. The negatives cancel, so we have 7. So our slope is 7. The next thing we have to do is choose either of the 2 points. It doesn't matter which one, because we have 2 points to choose from. We have 2, 3, and we have 1, negative 4. I don't like dealing with negatives, so I'm choosing this point. This is my X, and that's my Y. Plug them into the equation and solve for B, and you're done. There's your value B. The slope is from up here. So let's plug it in there. Y equals mx plus b. Our slope is that. X, so y value is 3. M, our slope is 7. X value is 2. Let's solve for b. 7 times 2 is 14. Subtract 14 from both sides. So b is equal to 3 minus 14. 14 is bigger. The answer is negative. 14 minus 3 is 11. So b is 11. M is 7. Plug them into our equation. So our equation that we're looking for is m is 7, x plus negative 11. You can't have two signs next to each other. A positive times negative is a negative. And there's your equation. That's your EOL. It's pretty much plug and play. That's what we're looking at. All right. So far, we've been dealing with only one line. There are instances where we can have two lines. We compare two different lines to each other. So if you have two lines, L1 and L2. Remember, the equation we're going to be using is y equals mx plus b. These are the equations of the lines these are defining. We have four possibilities. If we have two lines, there are four possible ways they can be situated. So each one of these we'll look at how they can be situated to each other. All right, the first one. When lines are like this, they're called parallel. And the shortcut, instead of writing that, the shortcut symbol is just that symbol there. Whenever you see those two lines, those short lines like that, then we know it means parallel. So what do we notice? Here's line 1 and here's line 2. So what do we notice about the two lines? If they're parallel. Remember, they both have this equation. So what do we notice about them? What about their slopes? The slope of line 1 has to equal the slope of line 2. Because they have to have the same slope because they never touch each other, never cross. The only thing different about them is they have different y-intercepts. So the y-intercepts have to be different. That's what defines parallel lines, and they have no solutions because they don't cross. The next one, line 1 and line 2 are the same line. If line 1 and line 2 are the same lines, what has to be true about them? Well, they have to have the same slopes. And they have to have the same y-intercepts. So you notice that's the different. If the slopes are the same, what tells them apart is the y-intercepts. If the slopes are the same and the slope intercept or the y-intercepts are the same, they're the same line. If the slopes are the same and the y-intercepts are different, they're parallel. The same lines have an infinite solutions. Every point is a solution. Every point is a solution. Remember, a solution is where the lines cross or overlap. So that's this side about same slopes. Now we're going to look at when the slopes are different. The first one we're going to look at is if the slopes form, but whenever you see this symbol here, that means it's a 90-degree angle. It's what's called a right angle. Like the corner of a wall. It's at 90-degree angles to each other. The wall to the ceiling, that forms 90 degrees. When that happens, when we have 90 degrees, that's called perpendicular. And the shortcut symbol there is just an upside down T. That shows that they both cross at 90-degree angles to each other. Because they cross at one place, it only has one solution. Right there, where it crosses. So what do we know about these two? Because there's nothing that says about the y-intercepts about this, they can have different ones, or where they intersect could be a y-intercept. We don't really worry about the y-intercept on these cases. The only thing about it is the slopes cannot be the same. Well, this is line 1 and this is line 2. The slopes are not the same. Well, neither are these. These are any other lines. This is line 1, this is line 2. They intersect here. All we know about it is the slopes are not equal. But what tells these two, this one has one solution also. But what distinguishes these two? What distinguishes is the slopes. This one has any slopes. As long as they're not equal, it's okay. But this one has a unique one. The slopes here, the two slopes have to be negative reciprocals of each other. They have to be flips of each other, and one has to be negative, one has to be positive. They have different signs. That's how you know you have a perpendicular line. So what does that mean? So if line 1 had a slope of 2/3, that means line 2 has to be opposite sign, it's negative, and flip that one, 3/2. That's what that means. So let's look at these. Here's going to be the slope. The slope given. This first one is going to be the slope parallel and the slope perpendicular. So if I give you a slope of 2, what would be the slope parallel to that one?
It would be 2.
Yep, it'd be the same slope because that's how they're parallel. They have to have the same slopes. Very good. What would the perpendicular slope be to that one?
-1/2.
Why would it be -1/2?
Because it has to be, you said a negative reciprocal of it.
Right,
And that,
but this
and the
is
2
2.
is 2/1.
Excellent. Yes, because every number is a fraction. And since it's positive, this one has to be negative. And you flip that one. Very, very, very good. Okay, so if I give you a slope of -3/5, what would the parallel slope be?
-3/5.
Very good. So this one would be negative. It'd be the same. What would the perpendicular slope be?
+5 over, or yeah,
Yeah,
+5/3.
change the sign and flip the numbers. That's it. Very good. How about this one?
It would be 0.
The parallel would be 0. Very good. What would perpendicular be?
Undefined.
Why?
Because I have it written on my sheet. You can't have a fraction where it's like,
Yeah, but this is a fraction. It's 0/1.
right, and
So
then
when you
flip
flip
1/0, it's
it's
considered an undefined.
yeah, it actually means it goes in there infinite times. But you know,
Oh, okay.
we call it undefined.
Okay.
Because we have to know these because we're going to be given problems saying, okay, here's an equation. Find me another line that's perpendicular to this one. So you have to know how to convert from one slope to another slope. And the last example, if this one is undefined, the parallel would be undefined, and the perpendicular would be 0. Because if it's undefined, that means it's 1/0. So this one is just the opposite. It's 0/1, which is 0. Let's look at some, I'll give you some points, some equations. Tell me if they're parallel or perpendicular. This is line 1, and this is line 2. So y plus 2 equals 5x. 5y plus x equals negative 15. Tell me if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither.
I
Let me
got
give you a hint.
oh
No, no,
okay.
no. If you did these already, then that's okay. Don't answer these because you've already had then some time to think about all these. I want people who haven't done this yet, who this is fresh in their heads. Because yeah, what you have to do here is the only way you can compare two lines is if they're both in this form. Because that's the way we compared these other ones. We have to be able to compare the slopes and the y-intercepts. So in other words, we have to solve for y in both of these. In line 1 here, we subtract 2 from both sides. 5x minus 2. In this one, I subtract x first. We get 5y equals negative x minus 15. To get y by itself, I have to divide each term separately. So y is equal to, there's the number in front of x, since there's nothing there, it's a 1. So we have negative 1 over 5x. My 15 over 5 is 3. So the slope of line 1 is 5, and the slope of line 2 is negative 1 over 5. They have opposite signs, and they're flips, so this one's perpendicular. Is that what you got?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. Okay, so get B. 2y plus 4x equals 8. 5 plus 2x equals negative y. Since you're the only one answering, go ahead and walk me through this one.
Let me see.
No,
Okay.
without looking at your notes. Try to do it to the top of your head.
So, what I would do is subtract 4x
Very good.
from both sides. So then you have 2y equals negative 4x plus 8.
Very good.
And then I went ahead and divided by 2,
Right. It has
each term by 2.
to get the y by itself.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep. So y equals, and then negative 2x plus 4.
Very good.
And then I got, for that side, I would subtract, or no, what did I, hold on a minute. Plus 2y. I ended up, I know you said not to look at my notes. I flipped the equation
Okay, so
I did negative y equals 2x plus 5. And then because the negative is in front of the y, I think you said that you have to change all the signs because you
good.
can't have a negative y. So it'd be y equals negative 2x minus 5.
Very good. That's exactly right. Since y is already by itself, just get rid of the negative.
Mm-hmm.
So the slope of this one is negative 2. That's the slope of line 1. The
Mm-hmm.
slope of line 2 is also negative 2.
So they'd be parallel lines.
Right. Since they're equal, they're parallel lines. Very careful. The most common mistake students do whenever we talk about slopes, there is no x value. There is no x in the slope. It's simply the coefficient, the number in front. And the last one, 2x plus 1 equals y. Y plus 3x equals 4.
Am I doing this one too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So for the first one, all I did was I just flipped the equation. So y equals 2x plus 1, and then I left it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the other side, I isolated x, so I subtracted 3x from the left side and put it on the other side. So I got y equals negative 3x plus 4.
Very good. So the slope here is what?
2.
Slope of line 1 is 2, and the slope of line 2 is,
Negative 3.
they're not equal, they're not, so what are they?
It's any other line or
Yeah,
neither.
yeah, it's either parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Very good. So that's right. If you set it equal to y and then compare the slopes and the y-intercepts. All right. Now let's put all this stuff together. Find equations of lines A parallel and B perpendicular to the graph of the line 4y minus x equals 20 and going through the point 2, negative 3. So we have two of these equations to do. A is going to be parallel and B is going to be perpendicular. So what's the first thing we got to do?
Would it be
Because,
find the
well,
slope?
from where?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't be parallel or perpendicular unless we know the slope.
Mm-hmm.
So what slope are we comparing it to? The
What?
slope of this line.
Oh, okay.
So we have to first take this line and find the slope of that line. First step. We're solving for y, so we have to get rid of the x first. So we add x to both sides. So we have 4y equals x plus 20. Then we divide all three terms by 4. So y is equal to, there's a 1 in front of the x, so it's 1/4 x. 20 divided by 4 is 5. This is our line. So what's the slope of this line? The slope of this line is what?
1/4.
Yeah, it's
1 over
1/4.
4.
So if that's our slope, what's our slope perpendicular or parallel?
It's gonna be equal.
Yep, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be 1/4. What's going to be the slope perpendicular?
Negative 4 over 1.
Mm-hmm. Change the sign and flip the number. So it's negative 4. So the slope is negative 4. And it has to go through the point 2, negative 3. So to find the equation of the line, we have to use this formula. That's M, this is X, and this is Y. The only thing we don't have is a Y-intercept. So the Y value is -3. The M value is 1/4. The X value is 2 plus B. Simplify first if we can. So the 2 goes into 4 twice. So we have -3 equals 1/2. Okay, some of y'all may think, okay, let's just subtract 1/2 from both sides and simplify. I want to stop you from thinking that way because more mistakes are going to happen when you have fractions everywhere. Whenever you have equal signs and fractions, get rid of the fractions. These are always going to be the same 5 steps. Find the LCD. In this example, what's my least common denominator? What's my only denominator?
2.
2. Then second step is multiply LCD to each term. How many terms do we have in this equation?
3.
Yep. Our first term, so we multiply 2 to all the terms. So it's 2 times the first one, which is -3, equals 2 times second term, which is 1/2, plus 2 times B. Reduce. In other words, cancel everything you can top and bottom. So the only bottom we have is here. The 2 cancels with the 2, goes in there once. So we have 2 times -3 equals 1 times 1. It's a lot easier to work with this one since there's no more fractions. Multiply to get rid of the parentheses. Positive times negative is negative. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times B is 2B. And then solve. Subtract 1 from both sides. So we have -7 equals 2B. They're both negatives, so the answer is negative. Add the numbers. And divide by 2. So B is equal to -7/2. And again, our slope was 1/4. So the equation of this one is going to be +1/4 x minus 7/2. There's your equation of the line parallel to that first one. All right, so let's do the perpendicular one now. We have to find the equation of the line. So we do the same thing we just did. Mx plus b. We have our m, which is -4, our x, and our y. So y is -3, x is 2, plus b. I just put those in their places. work it out. Since there aren't any fractions, negative times positive is negative. 4 times 2 is 8. No fractions, so we just go ahead and work it out. 8 minus 3 is 5. So B is equal to 5. And again, the slope is, for this one, the slope is -4 because it's perpendicular. And plug them in there. M is -4. B is +5. And that's the equation of the line perpendicular to it. Any questions? So that does it for that section. That does it for that section. Let me go ahead and stop recording here.